What's up, guys? My name is Michael DeFazio, and this is the Maker's Legacy Podcast. This is literally day one of a new adventure for me. So I'm super glad that you guys decided to take the time to come and join me on this thing. I hope this becomes an incredible resource for anybody that is making anything with their hands. If you are building furniture, if you are building art, if you are building clothing, anything along those lines, if you are working with your hands, this podcast should help you out in the form of stories, in the form of past experiences. I hope you guys get a ton out of this. So it's all my heart pouring it out to you guys. I appreciate you guys listening. Get right into it. So I'm going to be telling my story over the next few episodes of this podcast in the form of a story with a lesson attached, just so you guys can get a little bit of background of who I am and how I've overcome some of the challenges I've had running a custom furniture company for the last 13 years, doing millions of dollars in sales and building thousands of custom projects serving our entire area of the province up here in Canada. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get right into it. So I was just 16 when I realized that a chunk of money was better than a paycheck. What does that mean? It means that when I started working at 13 years old, when I was a dishwasher at 13 years old at the Serbian Center, I was doing dishes on the weekends for a little bit of extra change kind of thing. And once a month, I would collect a paycheck of about $600 or $700. And honestly, being 13 years old, $600 or $700 a month is more than anybody needs, because I can promise you that I had more candy and Pop-Tarts and anything that you can ever even imagine that I needed. I did not need that amount of candy in my life, but being a 13-year-old boy, it was pretty awesome. So I learned this because at 16, I started building things and selling them on Kijiji or Craigslist, wherever you're at listening to this. So I started building custom reptile tanks in my mom's basement, and I was selling them on Kijiji to guys that had snakes, lizards, all sorts of things. But I would go to Home Depot, learn what it was like to buy raw materials and then craft something out of it. This is a long time. So this is when I was in grade 10 or 11, I started doing this. And I started receiving chunks of money. So a chunk of money is better than trading my time for money. And I learned this because I would get paid for one of these reptile tanks, and I was able to pay down my guitar, for example, that I was saving up for. Or like a huge chunk of that money would just go right to whatever I was working towards, instead of working for a paycheck that I would collect at the end of the month for $600 or $700. So let's get right at it. The 5 points that I learned while doing this and while making a chunk of money instead of getting paid for an hourly project. Let's start with number 1. So time flexibility. So you get to earn more in less time. You get to control your own schedule. This means that you can take more time on a project if you want, or you can get it done as quick as possible and get it out the door, right? Just send it. There's a lot of ways that you can do both of these things. If you want to get really down and dirty in the details of a project, you can spend all the time in the world on these things, but you have to be conscious of how much time you are spending, because if you overspend the time on it, you will start to lose your money. Number 2, you have a higher earning potential. You have scalability. You can do 5 of these projects at once. If you're doing them together, you can do sort of like a batch work if you want. There's a lot of ways you can put this together to maximize the things that you are already doing. For example, if you have to finish 1 project or 3 projects, you're pretty much going to be in the same time zone, the time range to do 1 as you would be to do 3. So just batch them together and get them in and get them out. Because you are getting charged, you are charging based on the value that you are providing or the project you are doing over the hours you are putting into it. Number 3, you get to work smarter over working harder. And this is up to you to decide. The client isn't going to care about how many hours you are putting into it. The client cares about the value that you are putting into the project and the value that they are getting. This also allows you to reduce burnout, which people like to talk a lot about. There's a lot of mixed theories on burnout. I've been burnt out before. It all comes down to a lack of purpose. So if you're going to avoid falling into the trap of where you don't feel like what you're doing is purposeful, you probably won't burn out, because you're going to enjoy what you're doing, and you can control this by charging for value-based pay. Number 4, you have control over your income. You get to control and you get to understand and know that when the project is finished, client is going to pay X. It's not going to be paid, because I got it done really fast. I did a really good job and got it done quickly. I'm going to get less money. That would be hourly rate. It's like I'm going to get it done properly, very quickly, and it's going to be a beautiful project. Now I get the pay of whatever it was that I charged the client. It doesn't change whether you work less hours or more hours. You know that X amount of dollars is coming in because that's the final payment for your project. And number 5, this form of payment really allows you to deep dive on your client's experience and to really focus on delivering an incredible project. It's based on the project you are doing. It's based on the amount of love you are giving the project, not just how many hours you have booked into it. I've worked full-time jobs. It's not fun, right? I would rather spend 10 times more hours doing something that I enjoy doing, knowing that I'm going to get paid for the value of that project and just enjoying it the entire time. If you do that part really well, you're going to have clients raving about you. You're going to have great relationships with your clients, and if your clients love you, your clients will tell their friends, and then next thing you know, you have an entire shop filled with people that are very excited to know you and to work with you. So it all compounds. Guys, I hope these 5 points help you out in your journey when you are building your custom furniture shop. These are the things that I've learned. I've got lots of things to share with you like this, and I hope that you jump into the next episode where I'm going to talk about my band and how I started selling stuff on a much greater scale so I can actually grow a furniture business and go full-time with my business. I learned a lot on the road touring with a punk band, and I'm going to share those with you on the next episode. So guys, like, subscribe to the channel. Please share this if you can. We got a lot of cool episodes coming up and a couple interviews with some really great makers, so I hope you guys get to tune in and listen to those. Talk to you on the next one.